beer geeks, welcome to the Craft Beer channel and welcome to the third episode of our pastry brewing odyssey. Today we are finally going to be tasting our two pastry stouts.
And we're doing it soft serve.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Earlier this year, we set out on a journey to learn all about and then brew a massive pastry stout. We flew to Stockholm to visit Omnipollo for advice, invested weeks in researching and writing the recipe, and then spent over £70 on coffee, cacao, vanilla, cinnamon, and hazelnuts. In last week's episode, we showed you the monstrous, pretty disastrous brew day, and since then, the beer's been fermenting, extracting, and conditioning, all to lead us to this point. The tasting and the slushing. So it's already been one hell of an adventure, but we thought we couldn't do this without doing the thing that most excited and inspired us about Omnipollo's pastry stouts and indeed pastry stouts, which is this thing in the corner.
Soft serve, mate. I mean, we're in the world of pastry, Johnny. It's big, it's silly,
It's sticky.
it's sticky. What is sillier than serving frozen slushy beer, mate? Don't get much sillier than that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything sillier. But before we get to that excitement, and indeed the fact we're going to be serving these beers on Nitro, hence this giant canister, we've got to actually add our adjuncts to the beer. So let's rewind to me back in the brewdio as I was chopping up and roasting hazelnuts, chopping up vanilla, putting coffee in little bags. It's just, I don't know if it's worth it. If the brew day didn't go very well, the fermentation is absolutely flying. I don't know if you can hear this, but that's doing extremely well, which means that we're on target to do the next pretty unusual thing with this beer, which is to add brewing sugar during fermentation. So sugar's traditionally used, particularly in British brewing, to amp up the ABV of the beer without adding more malt sweetness, more malt character. So you can end up with a drier, lighter, kind of fresher tasting beer than you would have otherwise. This time we're going to be adding it during fermentation. Usually it's added during the boil, this time into the fermenter. So the idea behind this is that with the yeast going crazy right now, it is chewing through absolutely everything that it can get its hands on in that beer. And we can distract it a little bit with this. So it will go for the simplest sugars it can find, and the simplest sugars you can find in brewing is brewing sugar, which is it's dextrose. So if we throw a load of this in, the yeast is going to focus on that more than it is on the more complicated malt sugars, and as a result we will gain ABV but hopefully retain some of the original malt sweetness that we really want to add character and depth and body to this beer, as well as bumping the alcohol a little bit. So yeah, now I've got to add this incredibly powdery sugar through a tiny hole in the top of the fermenter. And so we've reached the point that we're all really here for, and that is for the addition of the adjuncts. But before we get to that, before we get to what I've got here, it's time to check on the final gravities of the beers. So I know that mine finished at 1028, which, given all of the work that I did to get as high a finishing gravity as possible, isn't quite as high as I wanted it to be. But remember, I've got no lactose in it. So 1028 is really, by BJCP standards, it's right at the top of what an Imperial Stout should be. So hopefully that's going to have the sweetness that I want, particularly once we add the vanilla, the hazelnuts, the cacao nibs. Here I have Bradley's, and I'm hoping that this is stable. I know what it was last at, and if it's the same as last time, we're all gravy. And I'm just going to do it live so that you can see where it comes. I mean, that is just motor oil, really, isn't it? That's absurdly thick. I'm going to save a little taster there. There goes the vanilla. Here we go, let's see where we land. I mean, no finishing gravity should be that high. Here we go. So we have finished at 1040. So we've had 12 points of lactose added. I was expecting about 16, so it's fermented a little bit more, maybe even than mine. It was, when they were bubbling away, it was going properly insane compared to this one, which is interesting because they were essentially the same beer minus the lactose. And oh my God, that smells of milk chocolate. So I've just spent a happy bit of time in my house roasting up these hazelnuts. So these are Piemonte hazelnuts, the best quality hazelnuts in the world. They came roasted or tostada. But Henok said I should roast them again. A couple of reasons for that. One is to really caramelize any sugars that are in there, reduce any moisture that's in there, just leave the tasty essential oils that I'm trying to get. And B, because it means that these are now about as sanitary as they can possibly be. They also smell absolutely sensational. So even if you're not going to brew this beer, I suggest just buying some Piemonte hazelnuts and just roasting them in your house, because your house is going to smell amazing for days. So I've had so much time to think about how I'm going to add these, and actually I'm going to go with the most simple thing. I toyed with lots of ideas. I toyed with getting a pump and pumping it around. I toyed with putting it back into the grain father with the adjuncts in and trying to swirl it round. But, you know, infection dangers, oxidation risks are all just too much, and really there is no substitute for time when it comes to adding adjuncts at a homebrew level at the very least. I can't make that hop cannon that Henok had. So instead I'm just going to put these in and wait until the beer is ready. I'm going to do little tasters all the time and see how it's progressing. Not all of the adjuncts are going in today. The first batch, all of my adjuncts are going in, but Brad's, because we've got cinnamon and we've got coffee, two massive flavours, I'm going to add them once the vanilla's had time to get all of its flavour out into his beer. Otherwise we could end up with all coffee and cinnamon and not a lot of vanilla. So let's get rid of this and answer the question of how I'm going to get all of this into the beer. So I've sanitized the life out of my desk and out of my chopping board. I've also got some muslin bags, which are a little bit smaller than I intended. So I'm just sort of thinking how many I'm going to need. But I wanted to go for little bags because lots of little bags will have more surface area than one giant one, in which the bits in the middle aren't really getting touched. So I'm going to sanitize these in there. And then I'm going to scoop all this up and get it in. Looks fiddly, tricky. So cacao nibs are obviously going to be chocolatey, but you do have to be a little bit careful because they're pretty much, you know, kind of unrefined. And they could add a kind of greenness to your beer that you really don't want, a vegetable character to them. So I'm not going to have them in so long, hopefully that happens. I'm going to keep a very careful eye. So that leaves me with 5 baggies for the hazelnuts. There were 200 grams of cacao nib, there's 300 grams of hazelnut. You do realise that Mr. Beast is probably giving away another £1 million somewhere else on YouTube right now. You could be a millionaire, or you could be watching a middle-aged hipster putting nuts in a sack. There we go. So it's been 5 or 6 days, and now it's time to add Brad's more potent adjuncts, which is our Ceylon cinnamon and our incredibly expensive Motorhead coffee, which I've got about 250 grams. Well, no, I've got about just over 200 grams going in because this happened. I had to make myself a coffee with this, having spent so much money on it. The smell of this stuff is just incredible. It's like brown toast and cinnamon, and then just like dark caramel. It smells more like caramel than coffee. So I've now got to get this coffee and this cinnamon into the bags. I'm going to be crushing up the cinnamon a little bit, putting it into the bags. I could just put them in whole, but that's less surface area for extraction, and also they'll probably float. So if I put them in the bags with the coffee, they're more likely to get right to the bottom and really mingle in there. Well, it's a beautiful Friday morning in the studio, and I'm prepping for today's recording of the Friday 5 PM podcast with 2 giant Imperial Stouts. So I have here some samples of both of our beers, both looking quite different, but we'll dive into that in a second. The adjuncts have been in there for varying amounts of time. So the hazelnuts, cacao nibs, and vanilla have been in here for 9 days, and the vanilla's been in here for 9 days as well, but the coffee and the cinnamon have been in this beer for 3 days, and I'm expecting that to be enough. So basically today I'm going to be judging whether I need to get those adjuncts back out, whether they've infused enough flavour. Let's start with getting these adjuncts out, and I'm going to start with my beer. You can see, yeah, my bags have definitely probably split a little bit, or the hazelnuts have begun to disintegrate because it's murky brown, whereas it was jet black before it went in. All I'm smelling is coffee, so I'm going to put this somewhere else. Oh, wow. There's loads of vanilla and loads of chocolate. That smells like a really expensive chocolate bar, which is very exciting. Nuttiness, though. Yeah, loads and loads of chocolate. That cacao nib, the cacao nibs need to come out now. I'm going to leave the hazelnuts in for a little bit longer. Maybe just over the weekend and then crush it after that. Brad's beer. So very different. This is jet black. Definitely thicker. It's really sticking to the glass. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it really is. So much coffee on there. Loads of vanilla as well. But no cinnamon, no cinnamon. I think the coffee needs to come out because even now I'm still tasting a little bit of coffee, and that's going to get over extracted real soon. So coffee out, cacao out, and we'll just let it lager for a bit until I'm really happy with the flavours and until lots of the solids have crashed out. Right, we're nearly there, we're nearly there.
Johnny, I can't believe we finally bloody made it.
Yeah, this has been an incredible process. We brewed this beer in March.
Yes.
It's now mid-May. And now we've come down to the Beer Merchants Tap, good friends of ours, and the only people foolhardy enough to lend us this thing. What's this, Bradley?
Nitro, baby.
Nitro, baby. So this is a 70-30 mix of nitro and CO2, and we're going to be pouring these beautiful beers on nitrogen. Smooth pour like a Guinness.
Mate, it's going to be, we're talking faster, furiouser, smoother.
Is that the one that never quite makes it onto the poster?
Yeah.
Smoother.
This is the, we should have called this Vin Diesel, but that's how smooth and nitrogen-y it's going to be.
And dark and petrol-y in it. That is so strong.
Come on.
So yeah, we're going to do that because while we were over at Omnipollo, Henok mentioned that all of his packaged beers now have a drop of nitrogen in there, just a small amount that helps with the creamy texture of the beer. So we're hoping it's going to do the same for this. So we're going to start by trying my beer.
Mate, I'm so excited. I don't think we've ever done a nitro beer before.
We haven't, which is why you're excited and I'm terrified and nervous. This it could not pour, it could just be froth, it could just be a normal cut like CO2 beer. Who knows what's about to happen? Okay. Oh my God, it's looking all right. It's looking all right. It's coming out real fast.
Look at that.
But that is a lovely, tight, creamy head. So that's one technical challenge done. Let's see what we get on the aroma.
Definitely getting like a rich daty vibe.
Yeah, really red, like dark fruity, which I think is both the malt, but also the cacao nibs were really fruity as well. When I sniffed them, it was like dark chocolate turned up to 11, and I'm recognizing that in the aroma. So loads of cacao nib. There is hazelnut. There is a nuttiness to it, a sweet nuttiness to it, but I'd say more hazelnut was needed and more roast of those hazelnuts even though they were double tostada.
Double tostada.
And there's definitely vanilla, really sticky sweet vanilla there.
Definitely vanilla. I'm getting like a sort of like I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I'm getting sort of like a nutty coffiness.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty good, man.
That is pretty good, Johnny.
It's lighter in body than I'd want it to be. But yeah, it's like melted dark chocolate with, yeah, some nuttiness. Wanting more hazelnut, Bradley. I'm annoyed.
It needs more hazelnut, but mate, that is, I mean, that's a beautiful beer. I'm kind of blown away.
Okay, so now we move over to Brad's breakfast.
Mate, you're in for a treat, Johnny.
I mean, unsurprisingly, it looks similar to mine. It was the same recipe right up until just before the transfer when the lactose went in. So much coffee on that. Heavily roasted, burnt caramel.
Not getting much cinnamon, Johnny, but I guess maybe you can't smell the cinnamon.
Oh, you can definitely smell cinnamon.
Oh.
I think the coffee's masked it. There is a sweet spiciness, but it's one of those things where there's so much coffee, you don't know whether it's the coffee that's added that or the cinnamon.
Yes.
So I clearly used not enough cinnamon, but with the lactose, maybe it's going to balance out on the palate. Let's give it a go.
Good.
That body is spot on.
That's a pastry boy right there.
That is velvety, slick. That is amazing. Still not enough cinnamon. And the vanilla's a little bit masked as well, so I think I went overboard on the coffee.
The coffee is domineering, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it does have that sweetness.
I think the coffee selection was
Yes.
bang on, because the aroma, like that burnt caramel, toffee and red fruit kind of thing, is exactly right. So quite heavily roasted, and a more kind of brooding kind of coffee is a good idea with a pastry stout to contrast, but I just used too much of it.
Yes, yeah. But it's not, like you say, brooding, but it's not overpowering. For someone who's not a massive coffee drinker like myself, I'm not scared of the
You
coffeeness.
see, now you say that, if you like that, you should be drinking coffee, because that's alcoholic coffee right there.
I don't need any more vices in my life, Johnny.
So after all that, our faces say it all. It was worth it. We goddamn did it. And you can too, because the perfected recipe and the link to buy the ingredient kit are below. But don't click away yet, because there's one more thing we have to do.
The amount of love, attention, heartache, drama,
Time.
everything that's gone into these, it's led to
Sugar.
this amazing moment when we're serving our first beer on Nitro, and we're gonna be doing our first soft serve.
So we've filled this up with your beer.
Yes.
Because from our experience and from chatting to Henok, a higher finishing gravity is always better.
And
So
mine was kind of sweeter as well, right?
when you have something very cold, sweetness gets suppressed
Taken
on
away,
our
yeah.
palate, whereas bitterness doesn't.
Right.
So that's why really cold beer can seem more bitter. It's why ice cream is much sweeter when it warms up. So we're going to use the sweetest beer, the thickest beer.
Nice.
And it's looking slushy. This is bonkers. I can't believe this is how far homebrewing's come, or how far it's regressed. I'm not quite sure which. Oh, there's slushy coming out.
Okay.
We're going to have to mop.
Do you know what, Johnny? I'm not saying Henrik could be proud of that, but that's definitely a soft serve.
Look at that absolute filth. Hey, that looks pretty good.
I'm getting there, hey? Hey?
Whoa.
going for it.
Oh, you had it and then you went over.
Oh, look at this though. I'm proud of that. I'm bringing it up to the camera as well. Gotta hide my face. Mate, I think that's pretty good. Cheers, my man.
Cheers, my friend.
This is... My God.
It's so nice to have it ice cold because it does actually mellow out and smooth it out, and although the ice cream top is more bitter, underneath, when you get the sweetness underneath, it's just like, it's beer ice cream. We've combined the two greatest things on earth.
Do you know what it is, Johnny?
What is it?
It's an iced latte, mate. I got my iced latte.
We got you your iced latte.